Hey guys, how's it going? Previously on the channel, I want to say roughly 2 years ago, I did a video. I bought this lawn cart from a local farm store. It was a store return. They were selling it for half the price compared to what it would have been brand new and what some of the other ones were selling for brand new. So I figured I'd go on ahead and buy it because I was looking for a cart at the time. I had a 5x8. I think it was a 5x8 trailer that somebody had home built for pulling behind their truck for working on vehicles on the side of the road. It had a toolbox. I didn't get the toolbox, however, it had the ramp, it had the, what's it called? It had the rails for everything, and plus it was a tilt deck trailer. I bought it and I used it. I ended up trading it off for a Craftsman riding lawnmower. No. Wait a second. I traded that off. I traded the Craftsman off for it. Okay, never mind. I was kind of backwards. I ended up getting this to replace that because I didn't really need that big thing around here and I wanted something smaller. You know, I could pull behind the tractors that wasn't wider than me, if that makes sense. So I thought, well, let's try it out. We'll see how it does. And I've had it now for roughly 2 years. I figured I'd make a video on it, just my thoughts and opinions on it. If anybody out there is looking at one of these box store lawn carts to pull behind their riding lawnmowers or their garden tractors, what you think about it. I tend to overload things quite a bit. I pull a little bit more than I should, and I've definitely done that with this cart. Some of the things I don't like about it is the tailgate, the way the tailgate's designed. I wish that it had a tailgate on hinges that folded down, because there have been several times that the sides of this cart have folded over a little bit or expanded some, and the tailgate would just fall out of it. Now, with the tailgate in, it has these right here that actually do a pretty good job at holding the sides of the cart together. But when the tailgate's not there because what you're hauling is too big for the tailgate to be there, I've had it before where what I'm hauling will shift over to this side or shift over to that side, and it'll bend the sides. You know, the sides of the cart will bend, and then you go to put the tailgate back on, and well, you gotta go in there and bend the sides back, which that's another thing I want to address too, is the sides of the cart. That's something I wish they would have done differently, was put hinges on it, you know, so you could hinge it up and some kind of latch system. So, you know, the latch would come out quite a bit, and if it was still latchable, it was fine. Where with this, you have to have it just about perfect, especially with these up here, in order to hold on to the sides, because if they're not, it's going to sit up like that and it's just going to bounce around and rattle. That's another thing too, is these tailgates tend to bounce around a little bit and they tend to rattle a lot. My brother has a cart similar to this, except for I think it's a little bit heavier duty. Its tailgate wobbles around quite a bit too, which, you know, to be fair, it's expected to do that, but it is kind of noisy when you're out there at night moving things around and that's back there rattling and you're wanting to go a little bit faster than it'll let you. The tires are absolute garbage. They just do not hold. The bearings that are in those rims did not hold up to me for a year. I kept them greased and everything. I oiled them, I greased them, and the bearings, I actually think they're bushings, just went out over time. I have stuck washers in here to help hold them up center, so that way they're not flopping around. This one is still okay, but as you can see, it's got some wiggle to it. This one over here is definitely cooked, and I'm sure you guys can see it. Over the time, over the course of time, I've put stuff in there to help them. I think they have bearings in them. I don't think they're bushings, but just that's something to watch out for, especially if you're me and you're pulling around firewood or other things you shouldn't be pulling. I've pulled other tractors inside of this thing. It went okay, but you're not really supposed to do that. The bottom of the cart is another issue. It tends to fold down quite a bit. One thing I would have done differently, and I should have done when I first bought this, is I should have put a couple pieces of metal down, a couple pieces of steel down under here, thicker pieces, probably one right here, one there, probably one over there, just kind of cross braces with something here in the middle still to help support it. Because as you guys can see, I'm sure you can tell this thing has bowed down quite a bit in the time that I've owned it. Again, I've hauled pretty heavy stuff with it. It's just a tin cart, it's not that thick to begin with. It's just stamped. It's just a thin sheet of stamped steel, Well, actually, it might not be stamped because there are some pieces here, as you can see, that have bent over the course of time here in the corners. Just some other things to look out for. These right here, I've had to bend this thing back several times because over the course of time, it'll let go on its own. This tends to bend forward. But again, I'm hauling pretty heavy stuff with it. Most people probably don't haul nearly as much weight as I haul around with this thing. I haul dirt with it. I've hauled logs with it. Wood logs tend to get pretty heavy, especially when you're trying to fit 20 of them in there at a time. I've even tried to fit 30 in there at a time. And I've stacked them up as high as I could, to the point where, well, you got to be careful how fast you go or else you're going to lose some. Overall, it's not too bad. Another thing that kind of pissed me off about it is the powder coat on it isn't exactly done all that great. It has started to peel and scratch in several places. Even before I owned it, it was scratched. I noticed it when I went to look at it. I didn't really care at the time, so I just said, well, oh well. But the powder coat job didn't seem like it was all that good. It could just be the one that I have that was like that, Maybe not all of them are like that. However, I have noticed it. The bed in here, it has scratched, and I haven't really noticed any of the powder coat going away. I almost wonder if it's just the outside of it that's powder coated, or maybe it's just the thing underneath. Because the thing underneath, there's red primer, and the red primer is sticking through pretty much everywhere you look. There are some spots that it's not. You could probably even see some. Oh, maybe not. Right now. But overall, it's not too bad. Like I said, if you're hauling around light things with it. But you can see there's some bending there. Going up the row, there's some bending down there. It's creased. Again, I'm pulling more than what I should with it. You come over here and it's kind of bowed out and it's creased. But mainly, there's some things that I'd watch out for is the wheels, as well as the bed. Like I said, I should have strengthened it a little bit more. I just kind of threw it together just to use it and see how it did. At the time, I wasn't really interested in, putting all the extra work into it. I just wanted something to pull around for the time being. It's actually stuck around a lot longer than I have expected it to. It has done pretty much what I wanted it to. I don't like the wheels, like I said. They go flat too quick. If you're going to be doing anything with it at all, hauling stuff around, I would get rid of those wheels and I would put something a little bit bigger on it. I'd probably go with 16 658s on there, or probably even 16 458s on there personally if it was me. Just something thinner than what's on there, or just something taller than what's on there now and a little bit wider, because those small things, I've gone through 3 sets of tubes in both of them. I've gone through 3 tubes in both tires, you know, and the ones that are in there right now leak, but they're not nearly as bad as, well, they leak, but it's not bad. So the tubes just blow out. I was pulling a load of dirt with it. I had it pretty full of dirt, and I was pulling it up a hill, and this tire over here on this side blew out on me. Now, keep in mind, I didn't have them full. Well, I didn't have them stiff. I had them about 10 PSI, somewhere around there. And this one over here blew out on me. It blew a tube and then it went flat right away. And shortly after that one blew a tube, this one over here decided it wanted to blow a tube as well. I think that was right after I bought it with the original tubes that were in the tires. So, you know, like I said, I wouldn't plan on keeping those tires for long. I should have swapped them out from the beginning, but I've just left them on there for right now. Haven't really planned on getting rid of them yet, but I would like to. I also am probably going to change that piece of steel out, that axle, make it a little bit longer so I can put some wider rims on it like that. So, but there you go. There's some things. There's my opinion on it, what I think about it. Overall, it's not a bad cart. You know, like I said, if you're just a homeowner with a pathetic little riding mower and you can't really pull around a whole lot of stuff anyway with it, you know, you're just pulling leaves around with it. You're picking up sticks around the property. You're putting leaves in it that you've picked up in your yard. You're putting grass clippings in it or whatever. It's not that bad overall. I've hauled mulch with it and it seemed to handle the mulch just fine. It was loaded down quite a bit with mulch. So, all right, guys. Well, hopefully this video helped somebody out. If you're looking for if you're looking for ideas or what to expect from one of these, what I think. If I had the choice of buying it again, if I was to consider buying a second one of these, I'd do it. If it was another store return and it was cheaper than this one was, I would buy it. And a couple of things I would do is I would take it and I would strengthen it a little bit better, as well as, you know, swap out the rims and the tires, because those rims and tires don't exactly do all that great. Like I said, I just haven't done it because I don't know, haven't really put as much. I didn't really think it was worth my time to take and swap the wheels as well as other things, because I didn't really buy this to have it as a show queen. I bought it to beat on it and use it, you know, and I've pretty well beat on it and used it. As I said before, one of the unfortunate things about it is, like I said, it's just tin, and the box tends to get bent up quite a bit. However, one of the nice things about it is that box is easy to bend, because if you bend that down and it starts to crease on you, I've taken this wagon and I've stuck it over the fireplace, over the fire pit, back in the backyard where that big cement thing is. I've had the back of it sitting on there and the front of it hooked up to the tractor, and I would jump in it and or just stand in it and bounce a little bit, and I would get it to uncrease and I'd get it to bend fairly straight like it is right now. I just did that earlier today, actually. So there you go. That's my opinion on it. The reason that this one was returned to the store was, I guess, the axle on it was bent. I don't remember how bad it was bent. I remember it was a little bit tough to get into the housing under there. That's probably another reason I haven't swapped that axle out yet, is because it was such a pain to get in there. So, all right, guys. If you have one of these carts and you want to voice your opinions down below, feel free. What you guys think of them. this is just kind of my, you know, my little session to go on ahead and rant about it. I've had it now for 2 years, and I really haven't done any improvements to it in the time I've owned it. I've more or less just used it, you know, like it is. So with that being said, I want to thank all you guys for watching, and I will catch all of you, if you stick around, in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye.